Hey everybody, John here. Welcome back to No Ordinary Path. Today is a Real Talk Tuesday, specifically a travel nurse takeover. It's been a little while since we've been able to do one of these, and if you're new here, Tuesdays we try to come out with something that we find helpful or informative that we call a Real Talk Tuesday, and specifically the travel nurse takeovers are ones that are geared more towards travel medical professionals, and that's what I do. Like I said, if you're new here, I am a travel nurse, take different contracts around the country with my family. My wife, 3 kids, a dog, and we do it all in Windy, which is our 37-foot travel trailer. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about, well, it's really our Banner review take 2. So we're coming off of the contract at Banner Del E Webb Medical Center out of Surprise, which is really like a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. And this was the second time I've taken a contract there, so I wanted specifically today to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of returning to an old contract. I will send you back over here if you want to see the initial review of Banner Del E Webb's ICU. All right, advantages. Number 1, if you've made a good impression in terms of doing the work at the facility like this, you might be able to create a job that's not even really available or posted. And that was my case with this. If it's someplace that you've been already and it worked out well for you the first time, there's a possibility that you might be able to go back even if you don't think, or your recruiter or agency tells you that there's not a need. Second advantage, no interview required. If they know you, right? So yeah, I ended up texting the person that was going to interview me and was like, do we need to do an interview? And she was, no. So that was kind of nice, right? A little change up. Number 3, there's really nothing to prove. And this is probably the biggest advantage to taking a contract over again, one that you are coming back to, is if it hasn't been too long, they will remember you. And if you left on good terms, which is what I'm going to emphasize so much in this video, if you left on good terms, then you don't really have to prove yourself again. That's one of the hard parts of being a travel nurse, is that, you know, we have to kind of come into an area and prove that we know what we're doing, that we're good nurses and that kind of, and usually takes a couple of weeks at least. But if you're coming back to one where they remember you, you don't have to. You can skip all that and go right into working well as a part of the team. Number 4, you already know the culture and the pace. You remember them and they remember you, and so you kind of already know like when rounds are going to be, where to go for things. You know where all the stuff is. I like to say, you know, part of the traveler's job is learning where the washcloths are, where the meds are, and then you're good to go. But you already know where the washcloths are this time around. So again, more advantage in terms of just coming into a facility that you are already familiar with. Now I will say this, having been a year outside of Banner, there was a transition there where I had to kind of like remember, okay, yeah, it's over here, that's right. But it's way faster this time around than learning someplace from scratch. Aside from just the nursing stuff, I'm going to jump back into the RV world here too. There's some advantages to returning to a contract just in terms of that. We covered this in some of our episodes, so I'm just going to briefly touch on it. You already know the area, not just the workplace environment, but you know the area. So you know where to go for all your stuff, where the grocery stores are, where to park. For us, it was great because we knew where to boondock. And so that was wonderful. If you want to check out more about that kind of stuff, you feel free to watch our episodes about this contract or the contract wrap-up. It was really a pretty good one. One of the things that's funny about travel nursing is whenever you go to a place for like 3 months at a time, it's always amazing to me how that's not enough time to see everything that you want. Yes, we get to sort of taste the culture in the area a little bit more than other people that are there for like a week or something just vacationing, but there's still always more. There's still more to see. And that was one advantage to going back to a contract, is that you remember, hey man, I really wanted to do this hike, or hey, I really wanted to go see this concert venue, or I really wanted to try this restaurant out with some friends, you know. Not only that, but there's still stuff that you remember that you really loved that you can go do again. Unfortunately, halfway through this contract for us, everything shut down. that was a huge bummer. It really put a damper on the contract, but no one can help those things, and hopefully all this will change, by the summer, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Those were the advantages. There are some really good things about checking out a place that you've already been. There are some disadvantages and some things I might even warn you guys about. Ready? Number one, you might have been gone long enough to forget some of the things that you didn't like about the facility. Let me say this. I really like Banner. I like the people that are there and that kind of stuff. But if you do happen to go back and watch the review, you'll learn that one of the biggest issues I had with working at this facility is their cancellation policy. They have it written into all of their Banner contracts that they have the right to cancel you as a travel nurse up to once per week for your entire contract. And guys, that happened to me a lot the last time. And it really didn't happen to me for the first half of this. And I didn't think it was going to happen at all because of all the COVID stuff. I figured being an ICU nurse, I'd be super busy. But towards the last, several weeks, they canceled me, including the last week that I worked. Several shifts. I want to say it was 3, maybe 4 shifts. And guys, for us travel nurses, that means no stipends that day. And that's a pretty significant income loss. So I had kind of gotten over that, and I thought, well, maybe this time around it'll be different because I was starting a little bit later into their busy winter season. Especially with the COVID stuff happening, I thought for sure they would always need me. Nope, they still canceled me. And that is one thing that burns quite a bit with this contract. Just saying that enough time may have elapsed that you have forgotten some of the stuff that you did find irritating. Having said that, it goes both ways because hopefully you left on a good impression, and maybe there's some personalities, or maybe it's even your personality that they might have forgotten about. There are always strong personalities at places where we work. Being a very ICU detail-oriented nurse, we have a tendency to have very strong personalities. And one of the disadvantages that I've got written down here is that sometimes you can actually become overconfident. And I will say that even about me this time around. It's difficult because as a travel nurse, you have to understand that you are there to help them out for a season of time. It's small. When you come back and you're already used to everybody and they're used to you, and hopefully you have great relationships with them like I felt like I did at Banner and still do, it can be a little easier to get drawn into some of the unit's culture and, dare I say, some of the drama of that. And especially now I feel like it was a little harder because there's so much in the media and so much going on with all the COVID and the PPE issues. And Banner, just like every other facility out there, had PPE issues, and you can get a little overconfident and sometimes maybe go a little bit above where you probably should as a travel nurse in terms of saying stuff. I was never in trouble or anything like that, but looking back on it, Shelby, love you. As a travel nurse, your main thing is to be there to help them out for a season, and that it can be easy to kind of get drawn into things after you've become so comfortable with everybody that you skip that first initial having to prove yourself. Remember, you're not part of their staff. You want to be helpful, and that is all. You don't want to be overly helpful. So just be wary and be conscious of what you're saying and how you interact with staff, management, educators, and those kind of things. Remember, you're there to help out. Also, remember, you guys, that for me, being a year outside of Banner, some things had changed. The manager that I remembered had left. Now, fortunately, there were still really good people in place there, in management that I did know and felt comfortable with and remembered me. But also understand that if it's been long enough, that things may have really changed. You may be going back to the same assignment. You may have even left on really good terms. But management may have changed. You may have had some significant changes in staffing. So it might not be exactly the same feel. Remember those times, guys, if you ever draw up something in your head that is just, oh, I can't wait to go back to that place. It's amazing. And then you build it up so much in your head, and then it has a hard time meeting sometimes those expectations. So just be careful and be conscious of that as well. Don't build something up to the point where it's unrealistic for your expectations. All that being said, you guys, I would probably still go back to Banner. It's a good place. I don't like their cancellation policy. I would worry about that. I would say if you're thinking about one of the Banner hospitals in Phoenix, the best time to start there is probably in January. That is where they are the busiest. Now this whole COVID mess is different, so it's kind of throwing a wrench in everything. But if it was normal and we weren't dealing with a pandemic right now, I'd say January, maybe mid to late December would be a good start time, because you're getting all the rush. It's very unlikely that you'll get canceled that much. Otherwise, man, fantastic people, fantastic crew, good hospital to work at. Thank you guys for being here with me. I hope you found this informative. You know, we try to keep these short and simple. If you have further questions, please feel free to reach out, leave them in the comments. You can email me at noordinarypath.com. And yeah, if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. That always helps it out. Ring the bell for notifications. And if you're new, let me know in the comments and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys out there.